Hello everyone, welcome to Grove First Impressions. So this is a game I found out about recently, and I know it's similar to Growtopia, so it's going to be probably another pixel-land situation in terms of just a game I found out about, but probably not going to play. Nothing too unique about it, but I did want to bring up my thoughts on it, going, beat by beat, just going through the game and the mechanics and different features and stuff. There's not too many features, but you know what I mean. I'll get into it. So just straight off the bat, there's no music in-game. I can't remember if there's music in the menu. That's extremely embarrassing. But I remember in-game, you're just kind of chilling, so that's kind of fine. The sound effects were serviceable. Nothing too interesting, nothing too awful. Thinking about it, like not really too bad, but yeah, the sound effects were there, which is something to note because it is a pretty new game, so they could have just had nothing, so that's already something. So the game was only recently updated to unique graphics, as far as I know, as opposed to mostly Growtopia assets. So originally they had even the character was similar to a Growtopian. A bunch of the blocks are still Growtopia assets, but they've replaced quite a bit of them. Yeah, the assets that they have that are unique, that aren't Growtopia's assets, they aren't awful, but it kind of gave me a revelation that the reason I dislike Growtopia's look doesn't actually come down to the blocks, which I thought that was a bigger element for me, but I guess the blocks and the items aren't that big of a deal. It's mainly these two elements, the clunky UI and the character, so let's talk about those in Grove. The UI is fine. I haven't played Growtopia recently. I know they've updated the UI a bit, but like old school Growtopia, with commands and the very simple UI and stuff like that, that kind of bothered me. Here, maybe it's just grown on me, that simplicity, but I wasn't bothered by it with like the shop and the menus and all that. It definitely is perfectly fine. The character is also very interesting. I thought I would like the Grim Reaper or like Ghost-esque main character, but I do have a couple things to say about it. So, it goes for that genderless, like, mannequin style that Growtopia, Bloxia, Crystal Realms, and other games have. Like, there's no gender switcher like there is in Pixel Worlds, which I do like. The skeleton arms are cool, but I have a problem with the head. That's kind of my main issue with the character. Other than that, it's fine. It's cool. The head is blank, completely blank. I wish there was at least a little bit of a expression, and it's the first time I've seen it done, just having no expression on the character, so maybe I'll let time play out, see how players resonate with giving the character personality with cosmetics. I ended up getting a couple cosmetics at the very end, and very well, the cosmetics could just end up covering your character to the extent you find enough personality with that without even having an expression, but I don't know, I think I'd prefer a character with an expression. But again, they're still iterating on the game. This is really new. I don't remember exactly when it came out, but this is a pretty new game, so I'll give them that. The tree growth, so it's just like Growtopia. I think I'm going to go into a bunch of different things with the trees and those kind of mechanics, but yeah, it's just like Growtopia. It has these, I'll get into it in a bit. So the trees, so there's I would rather have a visual indicator based on what seed you're holding that tells you if a tree can be spliced so you can save some time. In Pixel Worlds, say you have a wood block, the recipes, I forgot what the recipes are, but let's just stay with me. Say you have a wood block seed placed on the ground and you're holding a grass seed, and there's no indicator above the tree, but then you switch to your soil seed and there's a little square above it indicating that you can splice with it. That saves so much time when you're in the beginning and you don't remember what the recipe is, or you're just trying to get new recipes instead of going through every seed you have and just splicing in, placing in until you get one. Here you can just tap through all your seeds through your inventory. It was not here, sorry. In Pixel Worlds, you can do that. You can tap through all of them and check without having to place them every time to see if you can get a recipe. Now, this is such a minor issue because most people don't give a crap about crossbreeding, which is totally fine. But for me, that's kind of a cool thing to have. Now, that's very much a quality of life feature, but I feel like Pixel Worlds had that from the very beginning, so that was very nice to have. But anyways, because this game's tree growth in system is very similar to Growtopia, I basically have the same amount of critiques of Growtopia's system that I do, of course, Grove. Or I guess that would make more sense to say in reverse, but you know what I'm saying. They're basically the same system, so I'm going to treat it like I'm critiquing Growtopia because it is the same system, but really I am critiquing Grove as well. So yeah, that visual indicator would be nice. And also, of course, Growtopia doesn't have this either, as far as I know, but a recipe book like Pixelworlds have would be super cool. I know it's kind of an in-depth feature. You might need a whole update depending on the team to pull off a recipe book, but it'd be super nice. I found myself writing down the recipes in my notes so I could keep track of them, but I was able to eventually find a Discord master list with, I can't remember who posted it, but it had all the recipes on it, which was really nice. I tried to look for a world like recipe or recipes so I could like take a picture of some recipes that I wanted to get, but there was nothing like that yet. Again, this game's really new. Yeah, so that's something I would just note. A recipe book would be nice super far down the line when that's able to be, you know, quality of life done. I have yet to decide whether I like crafting or splicing better as a feature. I really liked the crafting system in Pixelworlds. Again, it was super streamlined, and also the recipe book that they eventually added was nice, and they kept adding more and more recipes. That was fantastic. But I don't think Grove does much else wrong in its pursuit of their Growtopia style system. Again, it's very similar to Grow, so that's worth noting. Additionally, I've always liked that Growtopia, and by extension Grove, has a preview on the tree for how many items you'll get to it. So this is one of the big pluses. You know, if a tree is going to drop 5 blocks, you have 5 blocks pictured on the tree before you break it. That's just kind of nice quality of life. It just kind of looks nice. Now, when you start having trees with like 10 items, yeah, that becomes a problem, so I see how that happened. I mean, I feel like there was something you can get 10 items on in Pixelworld, like maybe soil or something. So it's not like the biggest deal, because it's not like you can change how many fruits are on the tree, so it kind of doesn't matter if you can see it or not. You're just going to break it anyway. But it's kind of a cool quality of life. Nice, always nice to be given more information, I say. Here's my favorite part, okay? So locks, you know, world locks or whatever, crystal, world crystal, whatever, they're actually called pacts in this game. And you may be shocked to find, for this game being close to my least favorite out of the sandbox MMOs I've tried, pacts are by far my favorite name and concept for a lock. Now, world locks are iconic, but now just a bit overdone because they're in like every sandbox MMO, and I do like world crystals and such for Crystal Realms, but the concept of a pact and an animated swoosh is extremely cool. I may or may not show a picture or a gif of it, but I love it. It's so cool. They're different colors when you go for different sized locks, and they're different sizes and stuff. It's so fire. It's such a minor thing, but I love it. And then additionally, the world generation and items to splice are essentially ripped from Growtopia, so again, none of that really surprises me or impresses me. There's, you know, that's why there's not a lot to note about world generation. It's just old Growtopia or old Pixelworlds world generation, which is again fine. They could, I mean, there has been cases where games have started with bad world generation or boring world generation, Pixelworlds and Growtopia, and then changed it later in an update. I don't think Growtopia's new world generation is that crazy. They just have a bunch of trees on the ground, if I remember correctly. But I really liked Pixelworlds', so maybe they'll change that eventually. Again, this game's new, but I did want to point out some of the things I've noticed. So yeah, this game's similar to Growtopia. If you're wanting to jump on a new game, like, you know, Pixellands, that's very heavily inspired by Growtopia, but maybe going in a different direction, I would just say go to Breaworlds, because that's got way more features and it's a bit more set in stone instead of Grove and Pixellands, which may not last, or who knows where those are going to go. I'd say just go to Breaworlds if you want Growtopia, but not Growtopia. But if you want to jump on the real early aspect of these games, then sure, go to Grove and check it out. If you like the character especially and you want to grow with that character, yeah, I'd recommend it in that sense. But I'm super, again, not really impressed with this game, but I do like the pacts. I like the pacts. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Grow forever.